when it comes to true love, for the 5D collective, the mystics, it is a very different love story than the 4D one. As we're talking in our episode, the long one, on how true love is about saying yes when you know. So when you know the one, you say, hey, you're the one for me. And also knowing how to accept, know when they know that you're not the one for them. So being you with integrity. You can watch it if you want. If you don't want to, because it's 15 minutes or you don't have time, it's cool. I will give you the gist of it. The gist of it is healthy self-worth, women, men, or theys, mystics or not. Know that if you say, no, I'm not the one, you are going to know what you're saying, even though you might not. That's because this is the part. Do you know yourself? Okay, so I thought knowing oneself was pretty straightforward. Then I realized why people don't want to be their self. First, they want to become expanding pieces of consciousness is how I word it. I am, on the other hand, a feminine, and one that is true spirituality. So Jesus taught me all about the Holy Spirit and unconditional love. And then I got confirmed, and I also told God, hey God, which now we can call Akash, source, essence of love and light, and life, spirit, all these words. Also dark matter, dark energy. So the people who don't like that we do this, they're the 4D and 3D. They're called narrow states of consciousness. They actively navigate in the realm of shame. It's very sad because they're 7 to 14 charming. They manipulate and pull the wool over the eyes of those very same people by dressing in fancy suits, using eloquent language, and actively not knowing sayings like I got taught in Italian, the dress does not make the monk. You know how they say don't judge a book by its cover? So there are a lot of people, they tell me that I'm stupid because I'm a mystic. So they will say your dreams are just dreams, not your actual lives, future past. So they don't believe in Akashic record readings. They don't believe in past life regression. You know, all that stuff. That's hocus pocus bullshit. They don't believe in Reiki. Now, we also have those who believe Reiki is bad energy because we have theologians who decided to claim that Reiki is bad energy because they want their group to continue only going to them, apparently. We even have those who tell you yoga brings demons out of you on podcasts, and they actively are part of the Christian community. So we have Christian human beings as well as mystic human beings out there spreading rumors. They're calling us Luciferian, some of them, because they believe volcanoes and the eruption of them and earthquakes brings demons out of the earth. I mean, so it's a time for new things to happen, and the 5D mystics know it. And so we get used to hearing 4D, not only, stories, science is included. I mean, did you hear about the flat earthers? I know you know about them. There's actively the sciences. People are going to use AI to disprove reality. Yeah. So we have a lot of different people. That's why the 4D love story, when it comes to their entire oversoul, well, it's a battlefield. It's kind of like when I learned, it's very unfortunate business. Let me share with you what I learned about those who don't know about their BPD lens. Yeah, so if they find out and they work with Dr. Daniel Fox or anyone who helps people that have BPD know they're healable, then they're going to be great. They're going to have a good time. They're going to join the land of loving because they choose their self. So that's number one. The 5D love story is, I know that Maria is beautiful just the way she is, being yourself with integrity. That doesn't mean you're going to like me. So if I tell you, you are my life partner, I know it because you tickle my fancy. Always, not just sometimes. Every day I wake up and I think of you. Every day I wake up and I feel happy to know that you're in my life. Okay? Very straightforward, right? Good. Now imagine this. Imagine a person, here's lo and behold, trusting someone less because they're kind to them. Now, also imagine how they have a consistent fear of abandonment and rejection, but also that their partnerships are not partners. They treat partnerships like battlefield people. So they're in active battles with people that are with romance, okay? Probably friends too, but I'm just saying, I'm right now focused on how Dr. Daniel Fox informed me, like everybody else, hey, BPD lens, yeah, if they don't know they have a lens, it's even more than just the child and developmental trauma person projecting their low self-esteem and direct communication, passive-aggressive, the bad manners that they learn from dysregulated nervous systems from toxic household environments. So you know the Cusco squirrel? Yeah, okay, go watch women do that on screen. I've seen them. Men, well, they allow themselves to excuse what is really not nice at all. So I have had men that, yeah, I won't repeat that one because it's a very sensitive topic. But for the women, I see them actively doing things like women. I have had women that tell me, I'm not interested in this person. They're all over me, da-da-da. Like I spent 10 to 20 minutes listening to a human being woman, more than one. But this one comes to mind every time because they're telling me they don't want this person and that they have another human being they would want to be with, man. They're monogamous, so they're not even saying, let me move into being in an open relationship, let me be polyamorous because I'm not decided, because polyamory is you embody it. Like for me, I love more than one person consistently. That is more than a friend. They can be platonic, they can be physical, okay? That's where it all depends, in case you're not informed. Now, the ones who call us unfaithful, they don't know that polyamory is consensual non-monogamy. It means we tell those people in their face, I love more than one person, and they're not just friends, FYI, just so you know. Okay, so grown human beings emotionally know how to talk. The ones who don't like us, those narrow states of consciousness, they say we're unfaithful. And they don't recognize what unfaithful actually is. If somebody's sticking to monoamory and monogamy like this woman, you're complaining to me about somebody, the minute I turn back around, I see you as you actively on your own, nobody's holding you, somebody's sitting like a whole meter, whatever, away from you, and you're actively I see this with my eyes, otherwise I wouldn't be telling you. So they're walking towards a man that they just told me they don't want. They put their arms around them, sit actively on their lap, scooch on up, and begin to engage flirtatiously. I turn around to my girlfriends and I say, excuse me, because they're really good girlfriends with this other girl. Is this accurate? Do you also know? Yes, but this is what she always says. Okay, I see. So that's actively mixed signals, which I have seen women do, and then they yell in men like these faces and they call them names and they actively accuse them of being the ones who are imposing themselves, and that's the why this area is so, no, not that, it's not blank slates, that's all. Okay, so for men, when they do things, I have, with my men friends, spoken up, and that's not really nice. No, you don't want to say that. And some will say, why are you making such a big deal? And that's because they get descriptive in other ways about other things, and I say, because you're a monogamous human being, right? You don't want to be polyamorous or polygamous with your wife, correct? Am I mistaken? Okay, so you doing what you're doing, I actively am friends and family and all this. This feels quite disrespectful because it seems you're not having an honest conversation with the person who you share every day with. I'm just saying, don't you know how to talk to each other? Don't you want each other's well-being? I mean, that's what true love is about. It's about being happy inside and outside. So if you can speak to a friend, then I'm going to be sure to make sure you speak to, and this is because these people, they actively, men, women, and theys, the ones that I'm thinking about, in the narrow state of consciousness, though, as basically human beings who might not have the education material. That's why I share with them, you can actively talk to somebody about your feelings and thoughts, right? I understand it's challenging because, being yourself, which is not always welcome, again, right here. So people, they hear me talk about how easy it is for me to share about mysticism. And that's why they say, but you have people who welcome your clairs. And this is actively as I'm trying to speak to 4D mystics who are getting sucked in to a group that's about to take all of their money. And basically it's a group of, yes, not really, like with the culty cults, traditional cults, and the religious, yes, and any of, all of them. They get by because they follow the laws and until somebody doesn't complain. So, and as you try to share this wisdom, this is with love story and just in general mystics, I've, again, subjective experiences here. I get told, no, but you have people who love you just the way you are. I want to be welcome. That reminds me of my teenage girlfriends and guy friends who would do the same thing. And I was like, okay, I did it for a little bit, but this is just us being dramatic teenagers, as the grown-ups said. It's not, I have family. They listen to me if I want. I can whine to them. They'll put up with me. It's like Sid, Diego, and Manny, okay? Okay, so 4D love stories with their twin flame goes exactly as they have shared with you, because people that are in the 4D collective, like when they tell you that you lose people on your spirituality awakening, Kundalini awakening, yeah, no, you don't. You don't lose people. You actively expand mentally and emotionally. If you do, that means you make more friends. 5D is about Christ consciousness. They seem to keep forgetting not only that he was not welcomed with open arms, but also that he walked with all people and told us to welcome all people. So actively, whenever I hear anyone wanting to tell me about the 4D got skipped, now you're in it. As you talk about evil and good, and you don't recognize that we have a balance of mass, energetic mass, and you still have the shame mass, and you're still vibing in it, and you actively are in this amygdala with your inner and outer critic stuff going on, and Elsa journey, and you didn't notice you don't have a mantle. Because there's no supervillain to fight, and you're not a superhero. You didn't notice you don't need boxing gloves. So again, when a person actively doesn't know their self, so like a BPD, they trust someone less when that person's kind to them. Then when things are calm, their hypervigilant mode wants to get things going because they're used to testing people out. And if they make it out of a fight, then it's good. It means they're going to stick around. But you can't actively shoo the abandonment wound and rejection wound away because it's here, and you actively want to work with the void, the anger, and those mood aspects and maladaptive child pattern behaviors that come about, and you can with the good, like Dr. Daniel Fox mindset. You actively work to get out of the lens. You notice your lens. It's called, oh, here's my filters. Here's my personality traits that I can work on because my behaviors show, because my hurts. Okay, so 5D people were very proactive because we're all functional adults who are mindfully aware of ourselves. And we use words to say, this is no, this is yes. Even if it's like, I'm afraid they won't love me. No, I'm afraid they won't say yes to me because I'm a mystic, because I'm polyamory, because I'm monoamory, because I'm not a mystic. This is why it can always be, oh, because I don't want children. I do want children. Any person can be afraid to be vulnerably yourself, but if you have integrity, you know, this is who I am here. This is a list of items that are part of my personality traits and my lifestyle choices that will stick around. They're not going anywhere. Actively, right here. Yeah, and no change. Sorry, Eric, this is what you get. You don't want it, it's okay. So that's a 5D love story, which is why we're not like, oh my God, they don't want me. So what the people who don't know about their lens, again, this black and white and split thinking, so they can go from making somebody out to be an angel, putting them on a pedestal, to making them out to be a demon. But then they keep on chit-chatting about it. Also, the family in the head actively criticizes their self. So when people don't have healthy self-worth, they actively talk to themselves in ways that are not necessary, which is why the 4D mystics, they don't expand their mental or emotional or physical body because they wear a cape thinking they're special versus noticing they're ordinary like any other person, just with clairs. So yes, being a channeler, a medium, all of this is beautiful because you get to support people on their spirituality awakening and expansion of consciousness journey like I do. Doesn't make me more special, it just makes me one member in our herd that can help people who are open to it. So you're open to spiritual self-help and or secular with some spiritual woo-woo lady chit-chat, okay? So it doesn't make me have any, let me talk about myself as a magical, okay? So we don't talk about our clairs as healing in this way of healing all magically, just saying. Some of us. Others, they do. They actively give you, hey, come to the shaman and don't go to the therapist. No, don't do that. Therapy is important because that's where you get to actively reclaim the inner child of you and know more about the psychoeducation, which fundamentally is completely important as long as there's any of that potential clinical dissociation, alters from DID, and moments that you might not understand with an emotional body that's disconnected. So again, it's very important because there is a process to your own inner child reclaiming, healing, and then knowing, okay, my unkindness and all of this stuff, family in the head, it's not me, and it's not Lucifer, and it's not demons or devils. There's a fear receptor in my brain. My brain keeps on looking to heal from trauma charges because that's actively the REM when we sleep. Patrick McNamara, learn about him. Yes, he explains no demons possessing anyone. Actively, your brain consistently heals. I had already learned that about the brain from other good trauma and other experts. So your body wants to, and your brain heal, to bring itself back to its healthy which is why it's absurd when I hear that there are sciences people, but also religious people who are against you healing and moving towards an integrated brain. They actively do not promote, support it. They don't understand the full area, or they don't understand that it is a process that takes time. And so, yeah, anyways, it's a long story. We got some more time and then we'll go. I'll say the other part about people who have these safety behaviors is they misinterpret neutral situations as hostile and negative. So they actively don't know what neutrality is like. Because again, they are not used to having a safe haven, secure base inside. They don't know. And then they don't know how to trust. They trust someone who's kind less. And they don't tell them. It's really sad. So yeah, that's why the abandonment and BPD can sabotage the relationships they get into. But once they understand that they misinterpret signals, that they have split and black and white thinking, so they do all good or the all bad, the all good is minimized and the all bad is amplified, which is even more not positive. Because imagine you think, oh, she's a mystic, so she's an evil bitch, evil witch, and you don't tell me to my face, and you do it behind my back. And then you got other gossipers with you, and they're also narrow states of consciousness. And that's why the 4D, they get into the whole, there's energy vampires, there's dark auras, and they get to doing stuff like that. Yeah, we don't get sidetracked. So the 5D mystic knows that none of our oversoul are energy vampires or dark auras. Okay, and so we don't actively do any of this, somebody put a spell on you and now you're mine. No, that actively, if you're a mystic, you know that you don't do that. Those spells, you don't. I've met those who do incantations. Yes, it's a no-no. And I have a story for you. So yeah, let's talk about that one. So this one is a lovely friend who's also she's a tarot card reader, candle, and I forget what her way of wording it is, plus she's Italian, and so she is a practitioner, and she uses, I believe it's white magic, the way she talked about it. So she knows people within the realm of tarot reading and doing candles, and again, I forget the words in English right now, but she also knows, therefore, people who are, what is it called? They basically do things they're not supposed to be doing. So, this is where she tells a story to me and other friends of us, mystics, and that story is basically that there's a person who goes for consultation, but the consult reveals that it'll take time for a person she loves, that she wants to share her life with, to come back around. And so she asks if this person knows anybody who can do love spells, and the friend and this lady's like, you don't want to do that. That actively messes with free will. You don't do any of that. Okay, so long story short, the woman spends money, but obviously things don't go well because, one, our planet is a 5D planet, and that actively went through its transition a while back. So I knew already this is not going to be good. There's no more 3D planet. 3D was a different planet. There's a different matter, different energy, a different way. In fact, our planet went, not our planet, but tarot and the tarot readers that I knew at the time, when our planet completely moved into 5D, no more 4D energy, it went wonky kind of. We had a recalibrating. In fact, all the tarot readers, what's happening to our cars? I was like, well, it's settling in. And ever since, it's been quite interesting, especially for me. I've noticed a difference with when you're reading for a 5D person versus a 4D person, because I'm a tarot reader too. And so the 4D, they have definitely stepped to their bandwidth. They will embrace what is not necessary, the human suffering love narrative, but if they don't move into welcoming their inner child back home, becoming their whole self, and then connecting to their higher self, and so starting to uncharge the positive and negatives with their emotional plane, mastering it, they don't become what I call that independent 1-year-old, because they don't learn to be securely attached, to be their safe haven, secure base, and to become a conscious, independent lover, and to basically say, hey, Eric, I have a tail, and I got a voice, and here I am. So this lady, she ended up not having the man come back. Her business failed and stuff like that. So this is where things don't always go in this exact way. So don't make it a blanket statement. However, with the whole twin flame and soulmates and your oversoul, divine feminine knows that we're always expanding together. So we don't actively need to cut any cords, because we're all a part of the same energetic cloth, and we have a balance. And so we, like the Dalai Lama shares, have a responsibility. I say we have the ability, but today I can also say understand that word responsibility, because there's a balance of energetic, but really we don't have to even explain it that way. I'll just use what Jesus taught me. Forgive, they do not know. Blessed are those who believe without seeing. And that all the good trauma therapists have shared that a person who doesn't know their self and doesn't know that they are not defective, so a person who does not heal their inner child wounds, they will not be able to notice their biological rudeness because they're already in their safety behavior. And so their 8-year-old, their unconscious and subconscious leads them. It's not a justification, it's an explanation. So the 4D love story continues to be one with battle gloves and, fighting each other and talking about energy vampires. That's why the twin flame thing, they went and switched a lot of things up. That's not how it works. True love, spirituality, twin flame and flames. And you as a feminine, if you're a feminine, you will know of the sacredness and the honor that it is to actively be able to have this mystic relationship. This relationship is not magic. It's, like I said before, faith. It's, you feel it in your bones. The Holy Spirit, you feel. You don't use this. This doesn't have anything to do, it doesn't talk. You don't have talking going on. You have, and it's not wine, Sadhguru. It's not wine. It's an open heart. And so if you've ever been able to feel safe in your own body, this is how we'll close, with an open heart. I call it, one, it's your ventral vagal state activated, your social engagement. But it's a moment of pure sense of I can be all of those personality that I am. I can also have moods and be upset for a little bit. We'll make it light because you want to respect the laws. I can even make mistakes, even unforgivable ones, which I will pay those consequences for, because people sometimes make really mistakes that there's no going back. I've heard of them, and that's when somebody says, I won't forgive myself. It's because you cannot change when death happens. So a person who understands this with compassion, they're not going to be like, oh, poor you. No, you can understand and say, of course, it is unforgivable. I totally understand what you're saying. And by being able to understand this, but with an open heart, they will know you genuinely mean it, that you get it. They are accepted in the fact that they don't have the capacity to forgive themselves. And you can say, yes, I agree. I understand what you're saying, because when you look at what did take place, this is unforgivable because we can't change it. But you are a human, and you are not meant to live with your biggest mistake being the identity, because otherwise you're not actively even doing anything to make up. You can't make up for it, but you can lead your life in a way that you want to, and learn and have this where it is, but also without a charge. That doesn't mean you forget. It just means there's no charge. It's the trauma charge that keeps people in narrow states of consciousness. It's the incapacity to forgive that you are flawed and imperfect that keeps you in shame, because you will have a shame charge of defectiveness versus I'm a flawed human being who can make a mistake because I am vulnerable to not seeing well. I am vulnerable to not speaking well. I am vulnerable to doing something, even if not intentionally, that might emotionally So you are actively embodying your humanity with flaws and imperfections, with the human word of, it's not kind intention, it's a land of truth. This is the Jacob brain that this rabbi gives. This is a feminine masculine. This is an actual overflowing with humanity, which is why divinity descends, and it's a feeling that comes here, and then it comes again and again and again. And it's not a favorite. No, it doesn't favor. Your brain's neutral. You give it chit chat. You allow yourself to process this. Emotions come up as your body naturally keeps you protected, and so does your brain. But once you have harnessed your left and you've harnessed your right, you're the person who's owning this body, the emotions, the thoughts that serve the life that you are, which is why Sadhguru makes sense to me, aka it's you, a restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating person with an integrated brain. Your desire to be mindfully aware of yourself, your desire to be accountable, regulating. And again, mistakes are not the biggest identifiers. No one is going to ever be perfect. So you being able to do your best is what you can expect. No, it's not going to be perfect. Know that if somebody doesn't love you the way you are, twin flame or not, I don't change, Eric. There's a door right there. That's how it works when you have I'm going to be me with integrity. The 4D, they deny all of what I just shared. They actively go on else's journey. Then they say, you know what? I want love in my life. So I want to go fuck people. And then they start building stuff. And this is why I'm not going to share all of the 4D love story, because it actively keeps bringing me to an area that is unnecessary. People who live the inner critic, outer critic, fucking, drinking, drugging, and then they do it all over again. It's called a shame cycle. It's unfortunate business. And a good therapist will heal all of that and help a person to actively then harness their higher self and then become their actual self. If they have clairs, they will be able to be a person who finally understands what 5D mystic and true spirituality is all about. Meantime, the 4D want to call other people names. We'll leave them to their stories, and we'll be back with more for us. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. And if you have questions about 4D, 5D comparisons, we've had some episodes in the past. I'm happy to answer your questions from my subjective experience. Again, as a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and as a feminine. So I can give you the feminine story, which is way different than what I hear on there. With our spirituality awakening, Kundalini awakening, there's none of this dark night of the soul or ego death. But that's because, again, you have a relationship with your inner child. You are the adult of you. So you have emotional, mental, and physical mindfulness, awareness, accountability, regulation. You don't project it onto people. And when I accepted not to be the one for others, it was something that I accepted because as a human being, there's one thing and one thing alone that true love is. Every day I wake up, I think of you. I want to know how you're doing because I want to know and make sure you're happy and healthy and that you're still breathing. And then I can go on my merry way, and I shared a moment with you. And we said hello. So to any person who knows what partnership means for life, it is that you lift each other up higher, especially if you're down. And then you make sure you're going along well. And that's a safe haven, secure base. And those are also secure connections, not only secure attachment relationships. So the 5D love story is one that we grow our oversoul. We don't minimize it. Obviously, the narrow states of consciousness, we don't hang out with each other all the time because, that's where we have different interests and different emotional interests as well. And we navigate storytelling. The 4Ds, they're all over the human suffering love narrative. So it's a whole different story. Again, you can find them online. In the meantime, again, thank you so much. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back with more